We're going live. I'm live. Welcome, Learning About Movies, Professor Dr. Josh Matthews. We're going to talk about movies in May of 2022, leaving Criterion Channel, Amazon Prime. What's coming out in the theater? I have not looked at these, so I'm going to do this live, as in react live to this. I've been rushing around and not had time to prepare for this, so we'll see what happens here. Welcome to you all, by the way. Newsletter, subscribe, letterboxd.com. Pull it up here. There it is. There's my Letterboxd page. Well, we're not quite on it, but subscribe to that. Because I write reviews, I write things on there, I interact with people a little bit. I will follow you if I see you writing good stuff or just even writing stuff at all. And yeah, so Letterboxd and newsletter. Thanks a lot for doing that stuff. And I'm on Twitter, but I just did I thought I did a pretty good short Twitter thread yesterday on Star Wars because it was May the 4th. Anyway, welcome to you all, and please leave your comments down there. I will ask you questions. You'll ask me questions. I'll interact with the comments later. Be sure to check those out. So May 2022, what in the world is going on in May 2022? Multiverse is going on. Now, I know Spider-Man Multiverse thing came out a while ago, or Avengers a while ago. Now, is this just a Marvel idea? No, as it turns out it's not, because this other movie, which people have told me to watch, and I have not seen yet. Let me get this out of there. We go. This other movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once? Yeah, this one right here. I have not seen it, but I will go finally. It's in a theater near me. Drivable distance. I will go see it. Interestingly, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness comes out this week, which I am going to go see. Whether that's going to be good or not, a corporate formula movie or something more than that, I don't know. I have to say the title of this movie, I'm not promoting this. Nobody pays me anything for these videos, by the way, so I just say whatever the heck I want. This title appeals to me. It's got this old cheeky B-movie title with a fantasy science fiction wizard in it who can jump universes. Sounds like an interesting concept. It sounds like fun. And I've read a number of books about science fictional wizards. You can read. I have it sitting here, actually. It's one of my favorite books ever. This is only the first half of it. Gene Wolfe, The Book of the New Sun, along with Jack Vance's Dying Earth series. I don't think this is related, Doctor Strange. But one of my points here is that what you're seeing with Multiverse, not just with Marvel, but with Everything Everywhere All at Once and whatever else, is a convergence of a cluster of ideas where you have, in a short period of time, sort of the same thing or similar topics being discussed all at once. That is typical in human affairs and artistic creations. A period of several years, a year or several years, you'll have the zeitgeist, where artistic productions kind of look the same, sound the same, have the same style, same topics, that sort of thing. I'm ruminating about this because in the 1970s, late 1960s, early 1970s in the United States, you have a lot of conspiracy theory movies, which I'll show you one in just a minute. And the question for a cultural analyst and historian is, why does that stuff come out at that particular time? So why in the early 70s did you have conspiracy theory movies galore, or a great number of them, and then thereafter and before you didn't have that many? Well, it's the same question with Multiverse. Why did this come out now, not 10 years before? A number of Multiverse movies. Now, you could just say, well, Marvel's leading the charge, and need something pretty interesting to spice things up and get more story ideas. That could actually be the case. I feel like, I'm going to say this sounds bizarre, I feel like Downton Abbey is doing the same thing. It comes out May 20th, Multiverse. You have Downton Abbey, which was a TV show, then it's a movie, but then here's the sequel in a totally new place. Same characters, same probably scenarios, different place. Kind of multiverse, kind of. So I wonder if I'm legit in saying that or not, but I'm speculating. And guess what? Top Gun. Same characters, similar kind of environment, different setting. I'm at least betting that the Tom Cruise character. I mean, he's in it, but there may be other characters from the old 1980s Top Gun movie. Seems to be a month, in other words, of remakes, rehashes. Is that a multiverse idea because you have the same stuff but in a different setting? I don't know. Firestarter? I have to admit, in the 1980s, when I went to a video store, I was creeped out by I was a little kid. I was 5 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, creeped out by the cover of Firestarter. I thought it looked scary, outright scary, and it looked exactly like that. So they have kept the same poster cover art for Firestarter, which I've never seen the original. I have no idea what's in this movie. Is that a Stephen King? Anyway, this is your lineup, at least in the United States, for what's coming out. And you have a bunch of remakes, stuff from my childhood. Chippendale Rescue Rangers was a show in my sort of childhood, teenage years. If someone has the idea that Hollywood has nothing new to say or nothing new to produce, this would be the month to argue that very loudly. So we'll see if any of these are any good, but I probably will go to Doctor Strange and Everything Everywhere All at Once. Have any of you seen either of these? I don't think Doctor Strange is out yet, but I'm wondering what you think of Everything Everywhere All at Once. So, let me... Oh, fuck. Oh, am I live? Dang, I just clicked off on the live stream. Sorry about that. Hopefully we get a comeback here. Let's see. Yeah, there I'm live. Oh, ridiculous. I clicked off on my live stream, so hopefully you're still around. Yeah, so answer that question. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is any good. I'll get to your questions, and these are interesting questions. All right, so let me go back to what my bread and butter is. My favorite, which I don't get paid by them. I have to say that every time. But Criterion Channel, which just keeps they're so generous. I hate to say it this way, but they haven't increased their yearly fee in however since they began. At least from me as an initial subscriber, I'm still paying the same rate despite inflation, despite 10, 15, 20% increase in prices pretty much everywhere. They're still the same price. I don't know if that's true for new subscribers, but at least for me as an initial subscriber it is. Second, sorry, I'm scrolling down on the left to try to find the what's leaving in the month. So I'm not prepared. There it is. What's leaving. Second, they keep giving, occasionally at least, a $10 off deal. Now, their prices are pretty high, I think. I don't usually buy a full retail price from them. But if they ever if you save their $10 off thing for a 50% off flash sale for them, it works out really well. Because then you can get one of their Blu-rays for like $10, $10, $15 maybe with shipping. Which is probably a more reasonable price. So anyway, let's look at what's leaving. Now, I actually looked at this the other day, and this movie was not on there. Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes. So I'm going to go through what's leaving Criterion Channel. I've explained this to those of you long-timers, but the reason is you have every movie ever made available to you online streaming, seemingly. And how do you choose what to watch? Well, you can go to somebody's list. I have several lists on Letterboxd. You can just let the algorithms populate the front page of a streaming service. I like this, though, because it tells me I may never see this movie, at least on this channel, which I subscribe to again. So if it's leaving May 31st, it helps, that's a narrower list to help me select. Now, I have seen Planet of the Apes many times. But but I haven't seen it in about 10 years. So I'm wondering how I would watch it now versus me 10 years ago. I think it's an interesting concept of a movie. The truth, though, is that the book is really good. And I know most people aren't readers, or reading is in sharp decline. I don't care. Look, I'm a professor of English, so I just don't care if anybody doesn't read. And the book is, I think, more interesting no matter what. I don't remember how to pronounce his name, though. He's French. Pierre Boulet. Boulet? He wrote 2 books, and they're very interesting as a pair. I think he wrote more than 2. There we go. Planet of the Apes and The Bridge on the River, Bridge Over the River Kwai, both of which turned into movies, right? But they're quite different. They're different works. I suggest reading them. They're quite good. Planet of the Apes is pretty complex as a book. It's less complex as a movie, although, of course, it has an ending. I won't spoil it, but an ending. I think, by the way, you probably can't see it. I have an homage to it right there. I'll have to show you one day what it is. And I think it spawned a whole series of B-movie Planet of the Apes stuff. Obviously, there's, think about Planet of the Apes as a franchise. It actually is a franchise. Whether they're 8 to 10 movies with that title, the recent trilogy, the Tim Burton movie, plus the 60s and 70s Apes movies. I don't think those will stop. For some reason, they're inherently interesting. You got a early Marx Brothers movie, Coconuts, so you could just dine on these first 2 movies, although they're not wildly awesome. Is this right? I looked at this the other day. I'm just doubting myself here. Leaving May 31st. Yeah, I looked at this. They did not have some of these on just even 2 to 3 days ago. So I wonder if they shift the list somewhat. Is this a Led Zeppelin concert? I don't even know what to do with concert films, by the way. Are they really films, or are they just filmed musical events? I was looking at Talking Heads, 1980. I was just one of the songs from it the other day, and it's arrestingly visual. I think Jonathan Demme was the director, but I don't know how to evaluate them, quite honestly. You do have Ernest Lubitsch, Troubles in Paradise. That's quite a good and famous movie. You can try Lubitsch out. And we're just going to scroll down here. Yeah, there's another one. So they must be getting rid of his stuff. Gene Kelly. I like Gene Kelly as a dancer. Where did it go? They must not... Bull Durham. Oh, gosh. I'm going to refresh this. This doesn't seem right to me. I feel like this was last month, but maybe I'm wrong. If Bull Durham is leaving, that's an interesting one. For screenplay, the screenplays I didn't like the movie, its execution. I don't like some of its. It is somewhat of a philosophical movie, a little bit, but I think it's kind of wrong in a number of things. But you can read my Letterboxd review. A lot of people like that one, though. Gosh, okay, I'm definitely not prepared. Here's a very troubling, interesting movie. A number of you know Michael Haneke, Amore, which got a lot of awards and applause when it came out in 2012, is about an elderly couple, a French couple. Really all I can say, because you just have to watch the movie and experience it. I mention this because I've been gung-ho about The Father with Anthony Hopkins. And this movie would make a nice pair. Where is it at? I can't do this. This movie would make a nice pair with The Father. I don't know that I didn't love it, but the problem, when I watched this movie, I was pretty newly married. Okay, imagine that. Fairly newly, I'm like 3 years. So do I want to watch a movie about that? What's in that movie? I'm not going to spoil it, but those of you who know, you know. So that's maybe my view of this movie would shift. So I didn't like it very much, or as much as people did in 2012. I wonder if I should watch that again, though. So you can say Criterion should pay me for this. It's just great stuff. It's got I tried that W.C. Fields movie there, The Bank Dick. I didn't like it very much. It wasn't my humor. It's pretty slow. I like Hollywood comedies get much faster about this period of time. Yeah, late 1930s, early 1940s, and so you get different styles. But I like the faster stuff, the Preston Sturgis, bringing up baby stuff, which is like rapid fire. They're talking over each other. I just think that's more arresting and interesting than the much slower comedy, which seems to be situational and particular to you had to be there to get the humor in some cases. But W.C. Fields was a pretty major actor at this time, so they can do some historical work. I have not seen these Pasolini movies. I saw the Canterbury Tale up there, the Decameron down here. So I don't know about those. If you have any comments on those, let me know. That might be interesting. William Friedkin, is that the early? Yeah, I should check that out. I have not seen his pre-French Connection movie, which I think The Boys in the Band is. Friedkin made The Exorcist and French Connection and Sorcerer. Some of you know those. So anyway, this is a feast, a true feast. Now I thought when I looked at this the other day, they had the Parallax view on here, and so I went ahead and watched the Parallax view, which I wanted to talk about for about 2 minutes, but I don't see it on here, so I'm just zooming down through here. Hopefully I've got the right page. Maybe I don't. Maybe I have something else, but we'll see. I'll bring up the Parallax view, though, because it was leaving the channel. Maybe it's not anymore. So we'll pull it up. It was on What's Leaving Criterion Channel, and that may have been for last month. I don't remember. So this is one of I was talking earlier about conspiracy movies. Oh, Zizek has a book called Parallax View? Okay. I'll have to look at that. I'm not a fan of him, but whatever. This is in a cluster of conspiracy theory movies that come out late 60s, early to mid 70s. Alan Pakula, the director, did Clute and All the President's Men. This is his middle movie. Supposedly they're trilogy, but really there's a cluster of 3 films: Clute, Parallax View, and All the President's Men, which I watched in a high school political science class. That's the last time I have seen All the President's Men. Should I rewatch it? Parallax View I'd never seen, I'd heard about. I recommend this movie because its cinematography is amazing. Gordon Willis was the cinematographer, and you know him from The Godfather. I know him from The Purple Rose of Cairo, which is one of my favorite movies, Woody Allen movie. But he did the Godfather movies, and I'm assuming Alan Pakula, make this look absolutely gorgeous. The shot making in this is fantastic. And the soundscape is pretty good. I actually like the score quite a bit. It's like a John Philip... I described this on Letterboxd as John Philip Sousa dropping acid. And so you get like traditional march, heroic, patriotic, rah-rah American music with weirdo avant-garde stuff thrown in there. And I didn't mind that. I kind of liked it. It was different. It didn't sound like the TV music scores that are typical of Hollywood movies at this time, which I just can't stand. But the movie's plot and its plausibility are absurd. Always the problem with conspiracy thrillers. If you have a character who should know and who knows he's being followed and should be paranoid, why isn't he acting more paranoid than he is? Is he just... And then the question or the answer could be, well, he's just dumb. I don't ever find that to be a satisfactory answer, and it's definitely not the case with this movie. It could be the character is also just too curious for his own good. Like he should be paranoid, but he's more curious than paranoid, and so his curiosity overcomes him. That's the only answer for this, but I still don't find this movie plausible. So the problem with older conspiracy movies, either from the 70s or a lot of them in the 1990s, is that very plausibility problem of, would anybody really do that, or why would anybody do that? Those questions come up. So I assume many of you will have trouble with that. in this movie. Also, there's the issue of Warren Beatty's hair, which is made fun of in the movie, which I find funny. It's in one sense gorgeous. I wish I had it, but also looks like a helmet because it's 1974. Anyway, you could try the movie if you're a videographer. It just is. I don't know how Gordon Willis pulled this off. I think this might even look better than The Godfather, or parts of The Godfather, if you can believe that. In fact, we'll click on his. Did he do The Conversation? Or am I wrong about that? No. I see known for. But you should know Gordon Willis. Those of you who are interested. Roger Deakins is, the cinematographer everybody seems to know. He's done a lot of movies, got a lot of credibility, but the older version of Deakins is Gordon Willis. So yeah, Clute, The Godfather. The Drowning Pool is not a good movie. It is a Ross McDonald mystery movie with Paul Newman in it. Again, that looks pretty good. And then he worked with Woody Allen. Okay, so Gordon Willis. Yeah. The Money Pit, really? Anyway, okay. So those are my recommendations. Well, did I give any recommendations? I'm not really sure. I should probably do one more thing, which is to show you recommendations. I watched Chungking Express again, and I'm still perplexed at why that movie is so good. It's hard for me to. It's like beyond criticism in my view. You can say what it looks like, what it's about, what the patterns are in it, but how does it come together and work on a human brain? Ooh, that's a great mystery to me. I think it's a beautifully done movie, well thought through. I can talk about its themes, but it's really hard to sort of pin it down and say why it works, because it's so different than anything else like it. All the rom-coms and sort of the postmodern blending of genres in that film. I should probably sit down and watch it about 3 times and see if I can start to say something about it that's coherent, because it's really hard at this point. I went ahead and watched The Thin Red Line. Now, this is the old version. Now, The Thin Red Line by Malick is one of my favorite movies, and it has been for 20-some years. I've seen it at least a dozen times. I probably know it all too well. I finally, though, watched the original. So, Malick... the screenplay to 1998's Thin Red Line is Terrence Malick's, but it's based on a book by James Jones, which I think won the Pulitzer Prize in 1963, 4, something like that, and a dark, cynical novel about the Battle of Guadalcanal in World War II. But then you have this movie, which was based on that very novel in 1964, which Malick had to have seen. I assume he did. He was 20 or 21 years old when that movie came out. And it's a deep, dark take on war, but World War II movie. So this is just the period where that's starting to happen. Sort of the downer World War II movies come out. Now, King Rat is one of my favorites, prison camp movie. That is definitely a downer of a World War II movie. The Great Escape, which is not a downer, but if you know the ending, kind of, and a number of other movies that would either be much darker, less heroic, less jingoistic, perhaps. So this Thin Red Line is in that tradition, or is in that vein, I suppose. But it's very poorly made in some respects, and it's only available on YouTube, and it looks awful. I mean, it's at the lowest resolution you can get. I thought it was interesting that Malick lifted whole parts from this early 1964 Thin Red Line and put it in his. I didn't know that. Like, whole sections of dialogue are taken directly, like word for word, from this movie and put into his own movie. Which then I question, why is it credited to him as the screenplay? But whatever. I would say take a look at these movies, because I think this is one of my favorites. I just showed it to a class. I'm not sure what they thought, because I did a lecture on it. But anyway, this is my long write-up that I did in about 45 minutes, and my fingers got tired. So I see some of you referencing that in the comments. But let's take a look at the comments, and I want to see what you have to say, because I threw out a ton of questions there. Yeah. Oh, there we go. By the way, thanks for sticking with me through my pause in the action. You're seeing Doctor Strange at 4 o'clock your time today. It comes out about 5:50 to me. I'll try to make a new movie review and post it on Friday, which is May 6th. So hopefully I'll have a new review of Doctor Strange out. Now, I did see the first one. I think that's the most appealing Marvel character to me. A magical wizard, or wizard with magic, who's all powerful but limited. I think Cumberbatch has a nice look to him. I'm not sure he's the greatest actor ever, but yet I kind of like the character, okay? But the first one wasn't that great in my opinion, or it lost my interest. I can detect the Marvel formula. I probably should do a whole video on what their plot formula is. It's even narrower. You have the traditional in Hollywood, for those of you writing screenplays or know about this, the 3-act structure and the beats of the 3-act structure. The Marvel formula is far, far more restrictive. And it's designed to appeal to wide audiences and make a lot of money, supposedly. So, will the Doctor Strange coming out that you'll see, it will be any good? Maybe we'll just watch it for the special effects, which is one reason to watch a movie, I suppose. And you're looking forward to Maverick. Well, the question in Top Gun, the sequel to Top Gun. Now, this is what you should look for. One of the things, but a main thing. Who are the villains, the bad guys, in Top Gun Maverick? In the 1980s, you could have, was it Iran? Was it Russian planes given to Iran? I'm trying to remember exactly. It was something like that. It wasn't as direct a reference to Russia or USSR at the time. This movie will not have Russia as the bad guy. I do suspect that movies coming out in the next couple of years will have Russia as bad guys because of the Ukraine war. I think the universal dislike of that country or its foreign policy will then allow movie makers to, get away from the Nazis as villains or generic fantasy bad guys. But yet, what Top Gun Maverick was not made. It comes out during the Ukraine war, but it was made way before that. So they don't tend to want to offend anybody. Chinese bad guy, Chinese government gets upset, right? Russian bad guy, everybody in Russia gets upset. People don't like the movie. They tend to do some rogue, for James Bond villain, somebody who's rogue, not associated with any nation, any state, any anything that could offend anybody. They sort of just make it up. So, yeah, I just wonder what they're going to do in Top Gun. I have no clue. I can't even guess. It's either going to be Eastern European nations, which don't matter. Usually that's the bad guy. Like in Liam Neeson movies, Estonia. The bad guys are from Estonia, right? They're big, bad, tough from there, but no one can be offended from there because they're such a small country. It's something like that. That's the only logic I can detect in the choices made if they ever name bad guys in movies, action movies. So, oh yeah, Rick and Morty. Yeah, all those TV shows seem to be multiverse. Those cartoony, animated, dare I say, adult or vulgar ones. They sort of like, and what's the TV show Community takes these characters in the same situation. They keep going to different situations and inventing them. And is that kind of multiverse? I wonder. Yeah, I wonder. I like this. Here's a comment I like. I wish I could highlight it for you if I could. I wonder if I can do this. No, that's gonna. Okay. I'd have to. I'll read the comment. I really enjoy Criterion Collection, but have only watched through HBO Max. Not sure if I'm willing to get another subscription. Yeah, the idea I'm toying with is sort of writing something that evaluates subscription services and makes suggestions every few months based on what these services are like. I like HBO Max as well. I think that HBO Max it treats me like a human being. Netflix wants to flash stuff on the screen, play it really loudly, be obnoxious. And then, that's when you turn it on. That's when you move the cursor or the box around on the screen. Then when the movie you're watching or the TV show is done, they take you right into the next one. They jump right over the credits. And it's just one thing after the other to get you to binge. It's the most obvious ploy to get you to keep watching, supposedly. I find it annoying and obnoxious. HBO Max does not do that. Their interface is nice and smooth and pretty good looking. It's easy to use, and it doesn't assault me with noise, and doesn't assume I will choose what it wants me to choose. So HBO Max also has Criterion Collection, at least some things on it. It has the Miyazaki films on it, and I subscribed to it for a month the other day because I wanted to watch the TV show Barry, the second season, with Bill Hader. I hadn't seen the second season, and I was pretty impressed with. I'm saying this because I'm pretty impressed with their interface, and I would, if I were to recommend a service, it would be that one, not Netflix. Amazon, most people have it, or a lot of people have it because of the Prime service that has the bundle of stuff, in it, and including the video, but all this other stuff. So, you may be subscribed to that one for other reasons, Amazon, but I see Netflix losing subscribers. Well, partly it's because Disney, HBO, they may have better products overall. I wonder if that's the case for Netflix losing all those subscribers and having a stock price that tanked. Also, Netflix doesn't create very good original content, in my opinion. So yeah, I would, Criterion Channel is. It's not for everybody. I wouldn't say that most people in my life would subscribe to it and enjoy it at length. I think those of you who are interested in movies, the history of movies, the art of movies, that's the streaming service, Criterion Collection. But for the ordinary person, probably HBO Max is doing the best that I can see in a superficial analysis so far. Yeah. Pee Wee Herman is on here. Apes original sequels get weird, but I like them. The Apes original movies were great for like Saturday afternoon lounging, if you have the leisure time as a kid to do so. They're cheesy, stupid, sometimes provocative, because they're multiverse. They have time, at least science fictional. They have time travel in them, and a bunch of other concepts that you're going to see in Marvel movies. I wonder if you could go back and study the Apes movies and then say they were the proto-Marvel franchise stuff. I would definitely want to show my kids Planet of the Apes just to see what they would say. My own children, I think we're there, although the female in that just scantily clad. They're at a time and moment where let's throw in some erotic Playboy elements into our mainstream movies. It's unnecessary, put it that way. And I wonder what I would think now, too, of the movie, but I probably should watch it with my kids and see what they say. I don't think my own children know the ending to Planet of the Apes, so what I would like to do is spring the surprise of the ending on somebody and see what they have to say, because it's so well known now, the ending. Yeah. Oh, here's an interesting one. The Hobbit says, I saw a life-changing movie from your Letterboxd review, Dersu Utsala. Now, did you see the review and then watch the movie? Or are you saying you saw the movie and then looked at the review? Why was it life-changing? Why did you think that was life-changing? Very interesting late Kurosawa movie. Dersu Utsala, great movie, I think. I don't think everyone will think it's great, but it's a Russian team. Is it Siberia? Meeting up, I think, with a Mongolian, a scout or hunter, and the scout or hunter helps them traverse the Siberian landscape. Is that the basic premise? I think it is, or close to it. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I do have a review of Northmen. I have seen the Northmen. I'm trying to... I didn't say the F word. Or maybe I didn't. No, I didn't. I don't know what that means. Anyway, the Northman is on there. on my channel as a review. You can take a look at that and see what you think. I probably would have liked it better if I were younger. Let's put it that way. I think, yeah. So interesting. Now, this is why I have this channel. I learn more than you learn from me. What is this movie called Chess Game of the Wind? What is that? I have never, ever heard of that. You're saying it's from Iran in 1978. Does it involve chess, or is it that's part of the title? If it involves chess, actual chess, I'm definitely in. Oh, it's a movie that was rediscovered in 2020. Was it re-released? 1976 Iranian movie. Well, this looks very interesting, guys and gals. Oh, wow, that's a great story. So this movie, look it up, Chess Game of the Wind. The original negatives were presumed lost, yet rediscovered by the director's children in a junk shop in 2014. Oh my gosh. Isn't that amazing? And it is, my assumption about movie history is we are still discovering movies that have not been seen very much, if at all. And I think there are a few classics, whatever classic means, out there like that. Negatives in a junk shop. The original reels buried in some library, the Library of Congress or something like that. I think we still are discovering movies, which is really interesting. Will we discover them all? Probably not, but that is really neat. So I will check that out and look at it pretty carefully. I'm all in on that movie. Actually, I have a friend who teaches Middle Eastern politics and history, and I wonder if he's seen it or not. He probably hasn't, if it's that recent. So good job, everybody. Take a couple more questions. Yeah, I get this all the time. What do you think about Godfather Part 1 and 2? I have yet to take a huge chunk of time, sit down, watch them, Godfather 1 and 2 again, and do a video that says something, or does it from my own point of view, and says something that I wouldn't say has never been said, but at least is unique and interesting. The problem with doing movies that everybody's talked about on YouTube and other places is, what else can you say about them? So I need to take some time and do that. I think Godfather 1 is excellent. Great movie. Everybody should watch it just to see it for its historical importance. At the very least, there's more to it than that. But Godfather Part 2 is one of the greatest movies ever, easily, in my opinion. So I do like number 2 a lot better for a lot of reasons. I think it brings all aspects of life together in one movie. It's just amazing. So I'll have to talk about both of those at some point, but I'm a Godfather Part 2 person for sure, if there's such a thing. And yeah, there's the last one. I think I discussed this in another video. What do I think of Zizek? He's funny in a quirky way. Isn't he? I'm still confused about Zizek. Is he really a Stalinist, or is that a pose? It's like, who would be a Stalinist and why, other than just to ruffle feathers? I've never been able to figure him out if he's really serious or not. But he has the Zizek thing on movies is he's dead. What's the movie one that? What's the documentary? I forget. Zizek has it. It's kind of entertaining, I found. So I don't recommend him necessarily, but he was a very hot scholar back when I was in graduate school. Everybody was referencing him. I don't think you can build a civilization on what he believes. Let's put it that way. I do think, so last question. I think I've answered this, and some of you know the answer. What do I think of Once Upon a Time on the West? I really think that's a fabulous movie, and maybe one of the great Westerns ever. Is it my favorite? I probably have, if you ask my favorites, I have a bundle of favorites, so I can just point to 8, 10, 15 movies and say these are my favorites in any genre. But certainly that one would be there. I thought it was fabulous in every way and delightful. So yeah, Once Upon a Time in the West. I slept on that for a long time, but this channel, the people prompted me to watch it. So thank you everybody for doing so. Oh gosh. Yeah, The Pervert's Guide to Ideology. That's that's the one. Sorry, my channel paused there. The last question I thought was interesting. Jack White. Hi, Jack White. I've been thinking about doing a deep dive on a single year of movies. So by that you mean you want to watch movies from 1 year in the history of movies. Is that right? And one question is why that would be the exercise. Now, you can do whatever you want. It's great. It sounds like an interesting idea. I'd probably recommend like a 3 to 4 year span at least. Only because you can get anomalies, which movies that were supposed to come out 1 year and they came out another year, movies that were saved. But in other words, you have movies that were produced during the same time, but they're not released during the same time. So you would get a different bag or different mix for each one, slightly different at least. The person recommending 1939 is doing that because I think that's a good answer, 1939, because it's one of the most acclaimed years ever. Let's see if I can pull this up. I think I've been toying around with this idea as well, like what's the best year ever. Sort of gimmicky on my part if I were to do it, but what is the best year ever? What's the best decade ever in movies? So let's go to the 1939. I'm pulling up Letterboxd. I'll just show you. There it is. Probably a little hard to see that, even if I zoom. Yeah, that's pretty hard to see. All right. This is 1939. What do you have? The Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind. Okay, so two absolute classics everybody knows. Another one of those classic, that amazing Western, Stagecoach, for a lot of reasons, technical and historical reasons alone. Stagecoach. Then you have Rules of the Game. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. So that's a murderer's row of 5 movies right there. Frank Capra made Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Only Angels Have Wings is very good. I've reviewed that on my channel. What else is here? Young Mr. Lincoln is a John Ford movie. I don't know that Wuthering Heights. Is that the one with Orson Welles? So, in other words, if you look, Industry Rides Again is a Western. There's a Bette Davis movie. Gunga Din is classic Cary Grant. And just Goodbye, Mr. Chips. Son of Frankenstein. Yeah, a Thin Man one. Four Feathers. There's a Marx Brothers movie. I bet that Sherlock Holmes is quite good. I mean, the list just goes on and on. That Sherlock Holmes is with Basil Rathbone, I bet. Would you get Drums Along the Mohawk? Another John Ford movie. Would you get sick of 1939, though? I don't know. So probably, for most people, the answer would be something modern. Something, if you're fine with film history and you don't mind any era of film, pick your year. But the other one is 1999, which I've looked at, and I'm not less thrilled with it than I recall, because I was there as a college student. And 1999 has it's a deep year. I would say if you were going to do a deep dive on 1 year, pick a year that has 30 pretty good to great movies. And you can go all the way down through here. And Existence is quite good by Cronenberg. And then the year of the movies above it. Now, these movies are ranked, I think, by either views or rankings. So I don't know. The truth of the matter is I'm not sure which year is the best or which I would recommend. But I've toyed around one of these years in the 20 teens. Let's see if I can find it. I thought was really good. Maybe this one. I'm not sure, but if you look at one from one of those recent years, I think you'll be pretty happy. I think some of the years in the 20 teens. Now it's recent, so they're going to be easier to watch, even the deep dive ones. But I think these years they have some potential. Sorry to flip through this. We're 40 minutes into this, so I'm going to do whatever the heck I want. Oh, I don't know. I think I'd pick this one. I mean, let's just do this at random. You have the last Planet of the Apes movie there. Great. Loving Vincent. Really interesting looking, great movie. Or pretty good movie. You have Columbus there by Kogonada. Critics love it. Blade Runner. Phantom Thread. Mother, I love. Most people don't, but I love that movie. Three Billboards, I think, is fantastic. Logan is good. You have, Get Out and Lady Bird, which people know. I'm not sure if these Marvel movies worth watching. Dunkirk, I think, is very good. John Wick 2 is entertaining. There's Paddington 2 sitting there. I think there's more. I've not seen that Joaquin Phoenix movie, You Were Never Really Here. If you want to be entertained, there's The Greatest Showman and the Lego Batman movie and Beauty and the Beast. Wind River, I thought is good. Death of Stalin is good. Alien Covenant, nice visuals. There's a Twin Peaks movie. This thing just doesn't end. I bet I can find more. Darkest Hour is okay. Best actor for, what's his name? Gary Oldman. Valerian is a sleeper of a movie. I've never talked about that. I think that movie is quite good for what it is. Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. And the list goes on. There's a Fast and Furious movie. I think if you were to, The Disaster Artist is okay. I think this is the year I was looking at, and when I was in this year watching this movie, I was like, wow, there's one good movie after another in this year. I didn't really think that, but on retrospect, I'm surprised there's Boss Baby, which actually I was watchable, Boss Baby. I wonder how many others there are. There are a couple Black Mirror movies. The Writer is in here. Okay, so maybe I would recommend, I'm sorry to go on and on here, but it's 2017. Hostiles is a great movie. So maybe that's my answer to you, 2017. Try it out and see. All right, I'm sure some of your answers are in the comments. What do you think? I gotta go. It's been a long night, but fun live stream as always. Check me on a Letterboxd newsletter, etc. Bye-bye. See you all later. Thanks so much for your time, and have fun at the movies.